Welcome to Marketing with Confidence. I'm your host, Marianne Amies. We're going to be talking all things digital and online marketing for business owners and marketing professionals. If you've been feeling overwhelmed by your digital marketing, be sure to listen along and you'll hear tips, interviews and more that will give you the confidence to create marketing you love. Hi, and welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you back here today. Today, I'm going to talk to you about lessons learned in business. As you may know, I launched a marketing business over 12 years ago now. And when I first started, I was just a solopreneur. I was helping people with their marketing. I hadn't really had the vision of being a complete business owner. I guess I was working with more of a freelance mindset. I was on maternity leave. I'd had my first child, and I was just really passionate about helping others. I wanted to use my time that I had to help other business owners and see what was out there, see what impact I could make personally for others. 12 years later, when I look back on my business ownership journey, there's lessons I've learned, and some lessons big, some lessons small, but I really thought sharing them with you as you go about your business ownership journey, whether you haven't launched a business, whether you're 5 years in, or whether you're a professional marketer that dreams of one day taking the plunge. I'd love if my learnings in business could help impact you on your journey. For me, I'm a very people-orientated person. I love helping. I love making a difference. And one of the biggest lessons I learned early on was I wasn't charging enough. When I first launched back in 2010, my business grew rapidly via word of mouth through Facebook. Facebook was hyper engaged. I don't think groups were around. It was really different pages, and we would connect with each other and network on Facebook. And I was so fortunate to work with quite a large networking group in Melbourne called Motivating Mums. I did some work for one client, and then like wildfire, it spread through the group. And I did work for many amazing female-owned businesses in and around that group. And I went on to run my own Motivating Mums circle in Sydney for a few years, and again, met some amazing women that I'm still close to today. The key lesson, though, starting out for me was that you don't know what to charge. The first time somebody asks you for a certain solution, you have no idea, what to charge, what that should look like, what's realistic. I knew I was working with micro businesses. Many of these women, like myself, had recently had children and were really working on passion businesses that they hoped to get up into a larger capacity one day. So I felt not a pressure, but I felt a responsibility, I guess, to be really fair and really accessible. And when you're a professional services business starting out on your own, you have zero overheads. I owned my computer, my big chunky desktop computer already, and there really wasn't a need to invest in much. I had an internet connection, had a computer, I already had a phone. I sort of had all the tools of trade. So there wasn't that need of cost recovery. So I started with a marketing plan, a mini marketing plan product, and I used to charge $50 for it. And this marketing plan sometimes took me 3 to 4 hours, sometimes took me 10. And when I look back now and I think about, why I wasn't charging more, I think also it was about valuing myself and valuing my ability, valuing my expertise. As a small business owner, or as a business owner where you're providing almost a personal product that's based on your expertise, it's hard to understand the value other people will see in that. And often it's hard to recognize what your skills are that come easy to you, what they're worth to somebody else. When you're always in that doing, and, I'm a person where ideas just flow. You tell me about your business and ideas flow for me. It's hard to understand that there's value in that. And so, when I look back, that was the start of a bit of a systemic problem in the business that grew, which I'll touch on in a moment. I think, as time went on and I grew my team, obviously that put new financial frameworks in place that meant we had to charge a different price structure. And, social media marketing, when we started into social media management, wasn't as competitive and wasn't as cluttered as it is now. And I guess there was an opportunity there to charge more because we were, one of the first. But again, that's not where I guess I went with my values. But over time, really we weren't charging enough. And as we grew, we used to charge, I think, $390 for 4 weeks management of, Instagram or Facebook. And again, when you've got a team and you've got an office, those prices were lower than what a freelancer would charge. And so, when I look back in today's lens, a massive lesson is valuing your expertise, valuing your authority, and having the confidence to charge what you're worth. The second lesson that I learned in my business was investing in amazing staff. And, over 12 years, I've employed probably 15, 20 plus individuals. And, I can honestly hand on heart say we haven't been the highest, paying job opportunity at the time. And that is the systemic problem of not charging enough. Not charging enough meant that we had a lot of small clients and then, not masses of profit and excess revenue to reinvest in staff. So, I've been so fortunate to have amazing people work with me. And I think partly, they came on that journey and they were really invested in the values of the business and invested in, I guess, what I could bring them from a mentorship perspective. But what that meant was I was never in a position to hire staff at a level that could take the pressure off me. So making those key senior investments, those key senior positions available within the business would be at the detriment of the business under the pricing model that we've had. So not doing that has meant, for probably most of the business life is that I've carried a lot. And I still am heavily invested personally in client onboarding, meeting clients, talking to clients, running strategy. And I have an amazing team that run the day-to-day of digital marketing, paid ads, website development. But still, I haven't been able to attract those key staff members that can really take the business further. And, we've had amazing growth year on year, but certainly, this catch-22 of charging enough and that volume of clients has meant that we haven't been able to expand into that higher leadership style staff. And so, I think the lesson there has been about how to meter your growth. I'm not somebody who had aggressive goals. I didn't want to be a, 20 plus person, multi-million dollar business. A lot of this hype of 8-figure business, 7-figure business, we weren't talking about that 3-4 years ago. And I think there's some great motivation in that. But I also think it's important to think about what you want and the life, I guess, the life-work balance that you're after. A good friend of mine, we were together in a program a couple of years ago called EO, Entrepreneurs Only, and we're in the Accelerator program, which was for businesses turning over under $1 million. I think it was between $500K and $1 million in revenue. And the program is very much about how to fast track to get over $1 million of revenue. And one day, Katrina said to me, do you even want to earn, do you even want a business that generates over $1 million? What would that mean from a life business perspective? She said, sometimes I don't even know if that's what I really want. And as a great conversation. We both have children in primary school. And it is a real interesting question about having a vision for the size you want your business to be. I'm very patient in terms of growth, and I also have metered growth against my family's needs. So have definitely made calls of where I felt if I, to grow bigger or to attract certain clients, I would need to invest time that would take away from my family. Now, I say that knowing hand on heart that I probably work about 50 to 70 hours a week. So, I certainly don't have amazing work-life balance in that respect, but I have metered that growth along the way. Which brings me to a really pertinent third lesson, and that is I didn't invest in my own development. Up until I would say 3 to 4 years ago, I wasn't investing in myself. I was, the workhorse of the business. I was the front man, if you like, front lady. But I wasn't, I wasn't talking to anyone. I wasn't being mentored by anyone. I guess I didn't have a bounce board. I didn't have someone or people around me that could help me see outside of myself. And that investing in my own personal development, I would say in the last 4 years, my mindset shift is huge, and changes I've made to the business around, our product offering, our pricing, our internal structure, the team, the culture, the processes. I've worked with countless really meaningful individuals. I work with an amazing leadership coach, Amy from Craft Coaching, probably in our second year now. And Amy just blows me away, the work that we do together. And I'm so appreciative of it, because as a business owner, often there is no one else you can talk about certain things with. Amy's looked at my team structure. We've brainstormed that before. We've talked about the vision. We've looked at values. We've mapped out culture. She's worked on certain profiling techniques with me to help me understand who I am as a leader and what I need to do to best support my staff. We did the same profiling with my staff to understand who they are and what their working styles are. And that work has been amazing as a leader to be able to start to understand more about myself and actually lead a team. Whereas I think for many years, I almost saw myself as a fellow employee of the business, and honestly, no one was leading it. So that, that's been so important. I've done money mindset work through Denise Duffield, again, which has revolutionized the way I value myself and my own expertise. I work with Suze Chadwick on a program to, increase your voice and increase your personal brand and really, again, become the authority in your industry that you're not stepping into, and that work is and has been amazing. I've worked with a fantastic business process specialist, Kerry Ann from Verve, who helped me to process map the whole business this year and create procedures and policies and working instructions, just structure that we never had. So, investing in your own development, looking at your weaknesses, or looking at the support you need to get your business to the next level and investing in that. I know when you're starting out, it can be hard to commit to financially investing in yourself. There's already so many overheads, but I can hand on heart say every dollar I've invested in myself, I've got back multiple times over, and I guess has made certain elements less lonely and really helped to stretch my mind as well. The next big lesson for me in business, which comes, which came from my investment in my own development, is realizing I had no boundaries. So I could go on for hours about all the different ways I had no boundaries, but I guess I've been a people pleaser most of my life. And, this spilled into a passion for my clients and, almost a devotion. So, if I'm asked, can you help us with this at the last minute? I'll make it happen. I would sacrifice my own personal time, work night and day, and prioritize other businesses also ahead of my own business. Often the time I need to put into my business, if a client's business needed something, I would forego the time that I might have previously put aside for my own business. So trading that time out, trading out well-being time, not looking after myself, from a nutrition and exercise standpoint. Also, being squeezed. So, somebody wanting to negotiate, I used to just kind of give it up. Oh, okay, you want to pay this? Sure, let's do that. Or let me throw this in. Or, those sorts of things that came from not valuing my expertise and the work that we do. And thinking I needed to help everybody all the time, whether that be for free or whether that be working with clients that weren't a great fit for us. I've really learned, and I continue to work on it every day, that, those boundaries, both personal boundaries as well as boundaries around the work, so critical to having, I guess, a healthy business, but also a healthy you. You can only stretch yourself so thin. And, I'm so fortunate to never have burnt out. But God, I've got close, and you just don't know. I've often said to people, I've never burnt out, but I'm sure I've been right there. Or, how do you know? You don't often know you're about to burn out until you can't get out of bed for weeks. So, I've been retraining myself and really being more conscious of where I give my energy and how I give my energy, and what matters, and what the priority is. For me, the final and I guess most important lesson that I've learned through running my business over the last 12 years is that helping people is the most rewarding thing ever. For me as a person, I genuinely and honestly love helping people. I feel so satisfied. I feel so grateful for, the team members that I've been able to mentor. I've had team members start as an intern and leave, 4 or 5 years later. I've had staff come with, limited confidence and some experience, and 3 years later be thriving in their roles. Shining stars out of uni that have then gone on to stay with us for a few years and make their mark. And, the internal side of people has been so rewarding and so challenging at times, but, so rewarding. And then the external, obviously the clients. I have such wonderful client relationships. I have people that I've consistently or on and off worked with for over 10 years and some even the whole 12. And, when they might go off for a while, or they might do, they might have someone internal start or whatever it might be, and come back a few years later, they always say the same thing. We always knew we could depend on you. You did an amazing job. I love that. I love knowing that there's people out there that I've genuinely helped that look back on our work together really positively. I love that it's small business. I love knowing that I can help someone with their own passion, to grow and to make it, because it's hard. It's hard out there. It's hard to launch something or to start something, to stick with it, to find success with it. And the impact that we have on our small clients is huge. As I've touched on many times, I worked in huge organizations with, multi-million-dollar budgets, and it was never really rewarding. As a younger marketer, you want to work for those big brand names. You want to, you want it on your resume. You want to be able to say to your friends, I worked for Bonds, I worked for Burley, I worked at Holden. They're great names. Everyone's, oh yeah, I know that name. You don't have to explain it to people. But the truth is that work is you're a small piece in a very, very big ecosystem where when you work with small business, you're critical. The impact that you're having will make or break that business. And with that becomes a huge responsibility. But the rewards are so personal and, so meaningful. And I love that. I think my business has taught me so much about myself and, taught me that I am people over profit, that I am, intrinsically about human connection. And I do genuinely, as I said, love helping others. And so I've been able to create the perfect business to support what really makes me happy. So I hope you've enjoyed hearing about the lessons I've learned in my own business. I can't say it's been always smooth sailing. There's been times when I've wanted to throw it in, just like you probably have too. But it's a beautiful thing to look back at lessons and see how far you come and imagine how far there still is to go. I hope you've enjoyed this episode and I look forward to hearing your feedback. Jump on socials, tell me about your business, tell me about the lessons you've learned. I'd love to hear them. Hey, thanks for listening to another episode. If you don't want to miss one, make sure you subscribe to the show in your podcast app. And if you love it, be sure to share it with friends and colleagues who you think could benefit from increasing their digital marketing confidence. Want more? Head to maryanneamies.com to find out how you can work with me directly, to reach out to have me speak at your event, or to grab yourself some free resources.